Okay, so let's do number 5. Estimate the area under the graph of y equals f of x using the data points given in the diagram. Okay, so maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit to see the numbers better. Okay, and so I am going to first look at like the width of each one of these bars. Let's see, the first x-coordinate is 1, the second x-coordinate is 1.6, the next one's 2.2. You can see the pattern here that basically the width is going to be 0.6, and the way you could figure that out is you could do 1.6 minus 1, right? That'll give you the width of one of them. Another way you could do it is if you could take the whole thing, which would be 1 to 4, right? So that would be 4 minus 1, that would be a width of 3, and you divide it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So that would be 3 divided by 5, which is also 0.6. So we know that h equals 0.6, and we figured it out 2 different ways. Use the way that's more comfortable for you. The formula 4 minus 1 divided by 5, that is on the formula booklet too, so you don't have to memorize that formula. Okay, but you can see that like looking at the picture or drawing a picture, it's maybe a more intuitive way of finding the width that, it's less likely you'll make a mistake. Okay, so now that we know that h equals 0.6, we can plug that part into the formula. Remember, it's 1/2 h times y0 plus yn plus 2 times y1 plus y2 dot. Okay? So I'm going to put 1/2 times 0.6, which is the h, and then I'm going to put in the first two, I'm going to put the first two y, or the edge y values, which are 5 and 3.25. So I'm going to put those first. I'm going to put 5 plus 3.25. I don't multiply those times 0. Or 2, and then I multiply all the middle ones by 2. So the middle ones are 4.32, 3.87, 3.57, and 3.37. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't have space to write those. Okay, I'm going to write those maybe like in another line here. So 4.32 is one of them. 3.87 dot 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 plus 3.57 plus 3.37. Okay, and I think I have put all the middle heights, 3.87, 3.57, 3.37. Yes, I think I have. So now I just plug it into the calculator and see what I get. And I could just type it in all like this. I could put, for 1/2, I'm just going to put 0.5 because that's a little bit easier to type in. And then I'm going to multiply that times 0.6. And then I'm going to type in this mess here. So it's 5 plus 3.25, which are the left and the right edges. And then I multiply the middle heights times 2, 4.32, 3.87, 3.57, and 3.37. Two parentheses to close, enter, and the answer is 11.553. Okay, easy, right? All right. Let's see here. Estimate the area between each curve and x-axis over the given interval using the specified number of trapezoids. Give your answers to 4 significant figures. Okay, so the different thing about here is they're not telling us all the y coordinates. We need to figure out the y coordinates ourselves. I think it helps to make a little picture. If you want to, you could go ahead and graph it on the calculator, and that'll help you make your picture. So my function is square root of x. And then I'm just going to graph it. And then I'm going to use the graph and trace to get the points. The interval is from 0 to 4. And it's going to be cut into 5 segments, which is kind of a not, super friendly, right? By the way, 4 units divided by 5 segments is going to be 0.8. So it'll be like, here's going to be one edge and here's going to be another edge, and not cool. Okay. So I'm going to just mark here what each x value is. So the first x value is not that bad. It's going to be 0.8, right? Because basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the 4 divided by 5, and that'll give me 0.8. So that's the width of one of the segments. So I'm going to put 0.8. The next one's going to be 1.6. The next one's going to be 2.4. The next one's going to be 3.2. And the last one's going to be 4. Oh, and the first one's 0, of course. Okay, so those are the x values. And I'm going to get the y values that correspond to those. One way you could do is you could use trace. So you could press trace, and then you could type in 0.8. And you could find out that the y value that corresponds to 0.8 is 0.894. And you could use that to help graph your let's see, I'm going to make this 10, and then I'm going to make this like 20 here. Okay. And then if I wanted to find out 4, for example, I could do trace 4. I'm going to show you a different way to do this in just a second. So look, 4 would be 2. Oh, I made what am I doing? I was thinking x squared instead of square root of x. So this would be 1, and this would be 2. And you can see that the y value for x equals 4 would be 2. And of course, the y value for 0 is 0. And there was a weird number for 0.8. I don't even remember what it is anymore. Now I'm going to show you how to get all those numbers at the same time. What you could do is you could look at the table, like we sometimes do to get points, right? Except the problem is our intervals are 0.8 wide, not 1 wide. So remember, you can press the plus and then put 0.8, and then it will divide it into segments that are 0.8 wide. Okay, perfect. So, like for example, 0, 0, that's the first point. 0.8, 0.894. So this one's going to be 0.894. And the next one is going to be 1.6, 1.26. And the next one is going to be 2.4, 1.55. And then 3.2, 1.79. Okay, so now we have all our y values here. And we can just put those in the formula, right? So, what's the width again? The width is 0.8, so we'll have 1/2 times the width, 0.8, and then we'll have the left and the right edge, which is 0 plus 2. And then we're going to multiply by 2 all the inside heights, which are 894, 1.26, 1.55, 1.79. Okay, and then we can just put that in the calculator and add them up. So we'll put 0.5, easier to type in than 1/2. The width is 0.8. And then my left and right edge are 0 and plus and 2, so I'm just going to put 2 because I don't need to put in 0. And then I'm putting 2 times all the inside heights, which are going to be 0.894, 1.26, 1.26. 5.55, 1.79. Enter. 5.20. Okay, so that is the estimated area under this curve here. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. The last one, actually. Okay. They're trying to make our life hard here. So the interval here from 2 to 5 is 3 wide, right? If we divide by 6 bars, then each bar is going to be 0.5 wide. Okay. The way you could calculate that using their formula for h would be 5 minus 2 divided by 6. That would give us 3 divided by 6. So that's the h that's going to go into their formula. And the rest of it, I just need to figure out all the heights in between the left and the right edge. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to make a little table, just like with the calculator. And so my first value is 2, and my last value is 5, and I'm going to count by 0.5 because that's my width, right? So it's going to be 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and then 5, right? And then I'm going to look up the y values that correspond to these x values in the calculator. So how do I do that? I'm going to put the function into y equals, and my function is 10 divided by x plus 1. So 10, let's see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the vertical fraction. And I'm going to put 10 divided by x. And then I'm going to plus 1. And then I'm going to check out the table. And I'm looking for the interval from 2 to 5. Oops, and let me fix the interval so that it counts by ones again, and then I'm going to reset it. So first I'll do table set, and I'm going to change table start to 0 and delta table to 1. And then I'm going to see the table again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count by, one side effect of using the vertical fraction is that it puts everything in fractions, and we usually don't want that. So let me just change this to a decimal. The way I can do that is at the end of the expression, I'm going to convert it to a decimal. So I do math, and then I do arrow decimal, and then it'll change it into a decimal. Okay, so let me look at the table again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my starting point of x equals 2, and then I'm going to count by 0.5s. How do I count by 0.5s? I press plus 0.5. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy down the values. So the y value that corresponds to 2 is 6. The y value that corresponds to 2.5 is 5. The y value that corresponds to 3 is 4.33. The y value that corresponds to 3.5 is 3.86. The y value that corresponds to 4 is 3.5. The y value that corresponds to 4.5 is 3.22. And the y value that corresponds to 5 is 3. Okay. So now what do? Well, we're going to put it in the formula, and the formula is 1/2 times h. Our h value is 0.5, and then we multiply that times our left and right edge y values, which are 6 and 3. We don't multiply those by 2, and everything else is multiplied by 2. So the middle values, which are 4, 5, 4.33, 3.86, 3.5, and 3.22, and finally 3. Those are multiplied by 2. And so now I just plug these in the calculator. So I'm going to put 0.5 times 0.5, because 1/2 is 0.5, right? And then I'm going to do 6 plus 3, which is 9. And then I'm going to do 2 times all these ones in the middle, 5, 4.33, 3.86, 3.5, 3.22. Oops, the 5 didn't come out. 3.22, and finally 3. Close parentheses twice, hit enter. 13.705. Which is rounded to 0.5. Okay? All right, I think that was it. That's the last one, I think. Yep, that's the last one.